Take a walk down memory lane, shall we? Back when Donald Trump publicly dismissed Project 2025, said he had nothing to do with it. That 900-page conservative playbook for a future Republican presidency.
I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it.
Now, flash forward to the first 60 days of his second term, and you would see a different story there altogether, one in which Donald Trump appears to pretty closely follow the blueprint of Project 2025. From erasing DEI initiatives to dismantling the education department and fundamentally overhauling the federal government, a community-sourced website called the Project 2025 Tracker says Donald Trump has so far implemented nearly 41% of the book's suggestions. 41%. Joining us now, staff writer at The Atlantic, David Graham. Good to have you, David. I read you religiously and happy to, I'm sorry, staff writer for The Project. I'm sorry, you're the author of The Project, How Project 2025 is Reshaping America, which comes out in April. This is what happens when I look down without reading the rest of the prompts. David, good to have you. Talk to me about what you've seen so far from the Trump administration.
Well, I think you're right. He did disavow this during the campaign, and in fact, his actions since then have shown how closely tied it is. If you look at staffing, Russell Vought, who's the head of OMB, is one of the main writers of Project 2025. You have contributors to the project all over the administration at the cabinet level on down. And as that graphic showed, there's many, many ways in which they are following the agenda laid out in the plan, right down to the dissolution of the education department, moving things like student loans off to other departments. These are things that were put out in the project and that they're following now.
We can put up on the screen all the people that authored chapters of Project 2025 who are now in the administration. This goes beyond, right, David, the theory of a unitary executive.
That's right. I think the unitary executive theory is an important sort of philosophical underpinning for a lot of what they're doing. Their view is that Trump should have, or any president really should have total control over the executive branch to hire and fire whoever he wants. But that's really just a means to the ends. And those ends are the things we're seeing, like getting rid of the education department, like cracking down on not just illegal immigration, but legal immigration. These are just, they have a plan for how they want to do these things, but the point is to institute this kind of far right Christian nationalist worldview that's laid out in the agenda.
So we've seen 41%, as we've said. One of the big points that was made in Project 2025 was a way in which to cut back on abortion nationwide, to basically make a federal ban the practice, even if you can't actually pass a federal ban. Do you expect to see that in the coming months, perhaps years?
I think we will see more of that. One of the things that has been a little bit slow about this is getting the lower level officials in place. It's been a little bit slow getting the cabinet officials in place. But that's the place that Project 2025 understands a lot of these policies are carried out. And so as you see more appointees moving into places like the Department of Health and Human Services, I think you'll see more pushing on that. And the agenda is, it is very far reaching. They want to use the 1873 Comstock Act to eliminate the ability to mail abortion pills. They want to withdraw approval for abortion pills. They want to institute a really sweeping surveillance regime of how states, what abortion is going on at the state level so the federal government can track that. It really is incredibly pervasive if they're able to do what they lay out here.
David, I hope to have you back again. I read you religiously at The Atlantic. I'm going to put up your book one more time because I completely flubbed the intro. You are the author of the book, The Project, a brand new book. Please go out and read it. David, thank you again for coming.